Today we are going to be talking all about the books and resources that I have gathered to use for Build Your Library Level 7. Before we get started, welcome to this House of Walls. My name is Ashley, that's Millie, and on this channel I love to share all things homeschooling and books. Today is homeschooling with a lot of books. I am going to take a little sip of coffee before we get started. This is my new Rose Apothecary mug, so I'm going to take a sip and let's start talking books. So this fall I will have an 8th grader and a 4th grader. I have both of their curriculum choice videos linked down below, and I have already shared the books and resources that my 4th grader is going to be using with Build Your Library Level 3, and I will link that down below as well. She's just going to come sit on a stack of books. Okay. Today is going to be all about what my 8th grader is going to be using for his books and resources for Level 7. He has been using Level 6 this year and it has worked perfectly. We have had a little bit of a struggle trying to find curriculum that will work for him and his needs, and apparently literature-based is it. This coming year I'm really happy to put both of my kids onto Build Your Library and use all kinds of amazing books and resources with them. Of course, we have the PDF that I printed and bound. I use this more for me, and then I type up what they need to do for that day, and that will go into this interactive notebook. So I have shown this before, so we have this interactive notebook. This is going to be the main thing that he will use, but I also have one for science. I will probably have him create covers for both of them. He's very artistic and I think that he'll have fun creating covers. Build Your Library is a literature-based, Charlotte Mason inspired curriculum. It uses Charlotte Mason in a sense, but it is secular and very inclusive and uses a variety of voices to teach all kinds of different subjects. So for Level 7, it is very geography based. It's not so much history, but learning geography of the world and people. So instead of doing history, he will be doing physical geography, human geography, and then literature. Those are the books that we sit down and read together. Poetry, readers, that's what he goes and reads on his own. Science, art. He gets a wide range of all kinds of amazing things with Build Your Library, and then we fill in some of the other areas. Like all the levels, Level 7 has an extensive book list. It even has all kinds of extra lists that you can fill in if you really have a reader on your hands and you want to just keep throwing books at them. And of course, you don't have to buy the books. I bought them because I know that for me, once we hit December, I am not going to do so well at going onto the library and trying to find books to borrow from them, and what if they don't come in time? That just seemed too much hassle for me, so I bought the books. Now, I bought probably 80% of them used, so I was able to shop a lot from a local used bookstore, thrift books, Amazon. Now, some of them I was able to buy new, but sometimes on Amazon you can find those books used. So I was able to take advantage of that. And a book outlet, that is an amazing resource to get new books, but at like used prices. Now, I couldn't find every single book. There are some that I have had to swap out with something else, and that is just how it happened. That either I couldn't find it or I found it, but it was too expensive for a single book. So we're making it work. Like I shared in my 4th grader's Build Your Library video, I use washi tape on the side to keep all of the books separated so I know what books they are. So Level 7, I have used washi tape that has little lemons on it, and wrote 7 on it. So let's go ahead and get started. The first topic that we are covering is physical geography. So there is a couple of books that go with that. Our absolute main spine is D.K. Smithsonian Geography, a Visual Encyclopedia. We love these books. If you have seen any of our other videos, they are just filled with all kinds of amazing information and pictures. I absolutely love these books. And then we have Older Than Dirt, A Wild But True History of Earth. And so this is a little graphic novel. Very cool. And Rising Seas, Flooding, Climate Change, and Our New World. I think this will be very good and informational. And then we go into human geography and learning about the people that live all around the world. And I think this is going to be so amazing. So our first spine, it said to use Lonely Planet Kids Travel Book. I couldn't find it, or it was expensive. And I already had one that hit all of the same topics that needed to be covered. So it's a DK book, Our World in Pictures, Countries of the World. So I had bought this, I don't know, beginning of the year, school year, this year, and we've used it a couple times, not a bunch, but I love it. And I think that this will be perfect for what is needed and all the information that he can gather from it. Another spine is another DK Smithsonian, People and Places, a Visual Encyclopedia. I was actually able to have a friend gift this to me after she had used it for this level. And again, just amazing books. If you don't use Build Your Library, just get these books and throw them at your kids, and they will just take in all kinds of amazing information and pictures. So this one will be really good. And then our last spine for human geography is The Wondrous Workings of Planet Earth, Understanding Our World and Its Ecosystems. So this looks like a beautiful book. It's all drawings, and I wish that there were some real pictures in here, but I think that this will be a great resource to use. And then into some of the other books and resources that aren't spines for human geography, we have Manhattan, Mapping the Story of an Island. So this looks really cool. It starts with Manhattan before human civilization and takes it through the development and people moving there and what it is now. So I think that this is a really cool book. The next book I am not able to find anywhere. It is Amazonia, Indigenous Tales from Brazil. So because it is such like a niche topic, I'm not able to find a book to fill it in. I should go through here and see if there's anything else that I can use. But as of right now, I don't have it. I'll put a picture up here and maybe I'll get to it before we need it. The next is Kids of Kabul. This follows different children as they are living through war, and I think that this one will be really good. Then we have The Elephant Whisperer, My Life with the Herd in the African Wild. So this looks really cool. It is just a chapter book. In the middle though, I just saw there are some really cool pictures. And then we have Whaling Season, A Year in the Life of an Arctic Whale Scientist. So these books look amazing, and we use more of them throughout science, but they actually follow scientists during studies, and they look really cool. See if that's any better. I'm trying to play with lighting in here. I have a ring light. I have lights on in the room, but this room, it gets really good morning light from that window, but I don't necessarily want that on the side of my face, but not enough from the doors in front of me. So it's just gonna be what it is. I am gonna take a little sip of coffee before we get into our literature books. So we have definitely really enjoyed literature for this year. I have always read to my kids, but I I was really kind of sad when we split my kids up and we weren't doing group subjects, even including read-alouds this year. But my son and I have really had an awesome connection from our literature readings, and that has been great. So our first is Ancestor Approved, Intertribal Stories for Kids. Like I said in my 4th grade video, I don't know a whole lot about these going into them, so I can't speak a whole lot about them. I will talk more about them as we read them throughout the year, but it'll be more of just kind of sharing the books and going on. And when I get to more like resource books, I will talk more about them. But this is the first book. Then Walk Two Moons by Sharon Creech. This is a very beat up copy, but I found it free in a little free library, so we're just going to use the beat up copy. An Uninterrupted View of the Sky by Melanie Crowder. This is a heartrending novel of family, incarceration, and freedom inspired by real events. Watership Down by Richard Adams. It also has an introduction by Madeline Miller, who is one of my favorite authors. Then Habibi by Naomi Shihab Nye. Then The Night Diary by Vera Hiranandani. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. Endangered by Elliot Schreffer. Broken Memory, a novel of Rwanda by Elizabeth Combres. The Bone Sparrow by Zaina Furlon, and then My Name Is Not Easy by Debbie Dahl Edwardson. So I'm really excited about that stack of books and to be able to enjoy them with my son. The next is poetry. So the poetry book for this year is going to be The Same Sky, a collection of poems from around the world. Oh, it's selected from the same author as one of our books, Naomi Shihab Nye. Very cool. So it's just black and white, but it is a whole collection of poems from all over the world. And I love that it won't just be a very Eurocentric group, there's the cat, group of poems, that he will be able to read a whole collection. All right, we are on to our next stack, and this is readers. So these are books that he will go and read on his own without me. The first is The Girl Who Circumnavigated Fairyland in a Ship of Her Own Making by Catherine M. Valente. Then Brown Girl Dreaming by Jacqueline Woodson. All right, the next book, there was a little bit of confusion on my end. I printed out the sample on the website before I bought the actual curriculum, and I was using that to shop for books. My version said to use Tree Girl by Ben Michelson, but the actual curriculum calls for The Well of Sacrifice by Chris Ebach. I had already bought this, so we're just going to continue and use this. The Dreamer by Pam Muniz, Ryan and Peter Siss. Across the Pond by Joy McCullough. The Story That Cannot Be Told by J. Casper Kramer. I Am Malala, How One Girl Stood Up for Education and Changed the World, written by Malala. While I Was Away by Waka T. Brown. The Westing Game by Ellen Raskin. All right, the next book is supposed to be A Long Walk to Water by Linda Sue Park, but he has already read that this year, and so we're actually going to fill in with Number the Stars by Lois Lowry. He hasn't read this yet, and I feel like it is a book that he needs to read, so we're going to fill in with this. Then Last Gate of the Emperor by Kawambi Mambalia and Prince Joel Makonnen. When Stars Are Scattered by Victoria Jamieson and Omar Mohammed. I think that this is the only graphic novel for the readers this year, but I think it'll be good. Kino and the King by Jen Angeli. And then the last one is First Light by Rebecca Stead. So I think that is a fantastic stack of books that he will be reading, and I can't wait to hear what he thinks about them. Now we're gonna get into science. So he hasn't been doing the science this year for Build Your Library. We've been doing other stuff and that has worked, but I really want him to dive into science this coming year. So we're going to be using the science. Now, the first book is one that I swapped out with something that I already had. So the curriculum recommends National Geographic Animal Encyclopedia, we have studied animals before and we actually have a bunch of books already. So we are going to use this DK Encyclopedia of Animals. I think maybe like a little younger of a version, but it will still have amazing information that you can go in and grasp. Then we have Tree of Life, the incredible biodiversity of life on Earth. So another great resource going through all kinds of different forms of life. The next is another fill-in book. So the curriculum says Migration, Incredible Animal Journeys. I think it was that I couldn't get it, and I found something at a used bookstore that I could use credit for, and I think it will cover the same concepts, but that is Going Home, The Mystery of Animal Migration. So it's just a little short book, but it will serve its purpose just fine. And then, like I said, we are getting into these scientists in the fields book, like the whales one that I showed during the history. And these look so cool. Like, I want to read them on my own. But the first one for science is Backyard Bears, Conservation, Habitat Changes, and the Rise of Urban Life. So again, it covers, you know, scientists actually going into the field and studying bears. Then we have Crow Smarts, Inside the Brain of the World's Brightest Bird. This looks really cool. I would love to befriend a crow. We saved one this past summer that somehow was injured and hanging out in a backyard, and I was able to take it to a local animal rescue. So this is really cool. The Snake Scientist. Snakes aren't my favorite, but so cool to learn about them. Even if some of these animals aren't your favorite, still to learn about them. The Frog Scientist, so cool. True story. When I was in, you know, like late elementary school, some friends and I used to go to a little creek behind our neighborhood and catch tree frogs. So cool. Then we have these science comics. These are fantastic books. This one is about coral reefs, cities in the ocean. So just a little graphic novel. And then the last of these scientists in the field is the Octopus Scientists. So again, so cool. The more that I learn about octopuses, they are just so fascinating and so smart. Then our last science book is How to Be a Good Creature, a memoir in 13 animals. So this isn't used until like week 35, and I wish that it was used more because it looks like such a cool book. Understanding someone who belongs to another species can be transformative. It's the first line on the inside. So very cool book. Then we have art. So for art, we are using this Geography Through Art, US and International Art Projects for Kids. Very cool, ties right along with everything that we will be learning this year. My only problem, I wish that it was in color. I mean, how amazing it would be if it was in color, but I mean, obviously we can use the computer right behind me and look up these things in life, but I'd love to have full resources right in front of them, but still very cool. And then I don't think that I mentioned this in the list of subjects as I was talking about it, but we are also going to cover world religions. And for our family, this is so important. We keep religion very open. We don't follow one religion and one religion only. I love for my kids to be able to learn all about different religions and the hows and whys people follow those religions. So to have a curriculum that goes over world religions is amazing. So our first book that we are going to use for that is the Usborne Encyclopedia of World Religions. So again, how amazing of a resource is this? So there's that one. And then our very last book to talk about is In the Beginning, Creation Stories from Around the World. So not just following one creation story, but what do people from all over the world say for their creation stories? Amazing resource. All right, that's it. That's all the books It is a stack of books, and it was definitely a little bit of investment. Luckily, I was able to take a bunch of books to our local used bookstore and get store credit and use a lot of that credit for these books. I could have gone through the year to search for these books as we need them, but I think for me, it'll be a lot easier to just have them on our shelves and pull them as we need. On that note, I'm gonna go chug some more coffee before our day really gets started. But as always, if you like this or anything else that I post here on this channel, please make sure to like and subscribe down below, and I will be back for more soon.